Mitch Motormass here, coming out with another sort of like trip video. So hopefully you've been enjoying the Rate My Ride series that I've been doing and some of the dirt bike videos that have come out recently. But we're off to do the Great Alpine Road tomorrow, but today we're headed to Lindenow to stay, just because it was the cheapest place, kind of close to that end of the Great Alpine Road. To stay tonight. So I'm heading off to meet Mason, go to his house, and then we're going to ride together up to Lindenow. I think our plan is just to take the highways, nothing too super interesting. So yeah, today's video is sort of just going to kind of be the chilled ride into Lindenow, and I'll do a few videos tomorrow. Today's video won't be super interesting. Roads aren't that fun, but yeah, I think I know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll cut to that when after I've met up with Mason. But for now we'll just get on our way. Yeah, so once I've left Mason's, I'm going to turn on Relive, which I tested with my dirt bike video, and it turned out pretty good, so I'm going to try it with the road bike for this one. Yeah, so I'll cut back to you after we've caught up with Mason. We're back, so I've just picked up Mason, just leaving Bayswater now. So our ETA is around 8:30. So we're going to probably going to stop for dinner and sail, depending on our ETA, just because the pub at Lindenow, the kitchen closes at 8:30, so we're cutting it fine with our ETA. Yeah, so today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about modding bikes, and putting your own sort of artistic flair on your bike and the sorts of mods you can do. It's not going to be an exhaustive list. I'm not going to remember every single possible mod in existence, but I'm going to try and cover most of the basic ones, so you can sort of whittle mods down to your 4 basic categories, in my opinion, which is your performance mods, your cosmetic mods, your comfort mods, and your practicality mods. And I'll talk a little bit about sort of my differences between them. Let's see if we can filter on this. I won't be able to get past that truck, I don't reckon. Nah. That light's turning green anyway. Yeah, so performance mods, super obvious. Sort of what they do is they improve the performance of your bike. Practical mods, they add some sort of feature to your bike, so luggage, GPS, it's really the main ones to talk about. Cosmetic mods just improve the look or the sound. with no other sort of improvement, and comfort mods just make it your bike that little bit nicer. So probably the biggest one I would suggest a lot of people to do, like in my opinion, is one of the first things you should look at is an aftermarket seat. I think that's like, regardless of whether you got a beginner bike or a bike that you're going to be keeping for a long time, being comfortable on your bike is pretty important. Getting an aftermarket seat if your current seat isn't comfy. Obviously, if you're really happy with your current seat, there's absolutely no reason to go and get an aftermarket one. That's what I think people should definitely consider going and getting. Most of the other mods, full stop, it's really dependent on you and what you want out of your bike. And I'm going to be focusing on road bikes for the most part, rather than dirt bikes. I'll do a separate modding your dirt bike video at some point. Yeah, so so seats definitely one I would definitely consider, just because being comfortable on your bike is really important, and seats going to be a big improvement for that one. That's really the main. The other comfort one is getting a bigger windscreen. I found a lot of people actually really happy with the fact that they've got one of those. It's not something I've done. I haven't actually upgraded the seat on the R3 because I'm actually quite happy with it. A few people I know just get those little aftermarket cushions that you can put on top when you are getting a bit uncomfortable, and that's been enough for them. Nathan's done that with his CBR. So extended windscreen is another really good mod to do, just because it gets rid of some of that wind noise and that wind fatigue. Really good for longer trips, which, being able to do longer trips on your bike for a lot of people is something really important. Yeah, so that's definitely something you should consider. And probably should have talked about this at the start. I am one for, if you want to do a mod, do it. Don't care about, but just accept the fact that if you go to resell your bike, your mod 99% of the time isn't going to, one, attract buyers to it, and two, increase the value of your bike. That mod is money you've spent on yourself that you're not getting back. That's something you just got to accept when it comes to modding your bike. It's just, I reckon it's the same with cars too. Yeah, that's just a sort of a little disclaimer on modding and modding culture. No one cares about your mods, except for maybe performance ones, but even then some people have preferences with performance ones. But yeah, so a phone mount or a GPS mount, I reckon, for anyone that does any trip longer than just their commute to work, or roads they know off the back of their hands, and that's all you do, so you literally go to the same twisties every single week, get a GPS mount or a phone mount. There's nothing worse than getting lost.
Are we going to like Wellington Road?
So we'll cut through Listerfield, yeah. That's the way the GPS is taking me.
What?
That's the way this is taking me, so...
At least we get to go to Lindenow, whatever, Lichterfield Road.
Yeah. Yep. Someone's messaging the group chat. So yeah, GPS, like today I know my way to Sale, which is about 3/4 of the way there. Other than the fastest way out of the innerish eastern suburbs, where Mason and I have come from. Yeah, I know, like, other than knowing the fastest way there, I know my way to Sale. So like, when push comes to shove, I could have just not put the phone on, but it was just easier. Yeah, so that's definitely a practical mod that I think everyone should consider. The next sort of practical mod I'd talk about is luggage, right? So luggage is pretty much all the practical mods other than your GPS mount and your phone mount. Oh, there actually is one other one I just thought about. But there's, so on sport bikes there's sort of 3 luggage options you can go that's actually a mod for your bike. So not getting a backpack and just wearing that like a riding specific one. This is actually like things you can put on your bikes. The first one you'll see Mason's got with the Ventura racks, and being able to get a top box or a bag to put on the back of your bike. And if you do regular big rides, I would stress getting one of those. What I've got, probably if you're doing regular big rides, probably doesn't suffice. And I'll talk about what I've got, but yeah, they're really good. Ventura is probably one of the best brands for it. Yeah, so Ventura racks definitely worth considering. And I think #1 option for luggage for doing regular big rides. The next one is just a strap-on one for your pillion seat. They're really good for sport bikes, and if you're not doing too many regular trips, they're good. Like if I'm going to the gym after work and I ride the bike, I'll have my gym equipment in the rear bag and all my work stuff in the backpack. Yeah, so I think they're a really good one for sort of your shorter, minimal carrying stuff. Just nice little pack bags that you can strap on the back. And you can get these if you get the, oh, I've just forgotten the brand, the Krieger ones. They've actually got, like, you can get other bags and sort of strap them together and get this big thing going. But I think for your smaller sport bikes, you're not going to be able to, like, it's going to throw off your balance so much. So I'd err on the side of the caution with those ones. And so the next luggage option is definitely not carrying much, but I think is worthwhile because of how easy it is to take on and off, is a tank bag. Like, I'm not taking one this trip, but you know, some really big trips, I'll probably use the tank bag as sort of my GoPro equipment holder, and not much else, and maybe that's sort of it. But they're just that little bit of extra room. The reason I'm not taking it on this trip, as much as it's super useful, you can't go full tuck, so just bear in mind if you do get a tank bag on a sport bike, you're not going to be able to completely tuck like you normally would. Like I'd have to stop here, which isn't too bad, but yeah, it's just something to consider when you're pumping it on. But I still think it's a really good option. Some of the stuff I'll pop links for all of the sort of stuff that I've suggested. Like I'll pop links for what I've got for both the rear bag and the tank bag. I can't remember the name of the company I've got for the tank bag, but I'll pop that through. Yeah, so that's sort of the luggage side of the practical. So we talked about the GPS. The other one, kind of extending on the GPS, and something I did, but I bought a really cheap version of it, and do not buy a really cheap version of it, is a USB charger. I think if you've got the mount, it's definitely a worthwhile investment to also invest in a charger. If you can get the wireless ones that are made by, like if you go quad lock like I have, wireless ones by quad lock. The one thing I have heard about with the quad lock, specifically the quad lock phone mounts, is if you've got an iPhone, get the dampener, because there's been stories of people having messed up cameras from the Mason's just signaling back, make sure we're turning left. Yeah, I've heard horror stories of cameras being destroyed by them. I haven't had any issues without the dampener on my Samsung camera, but apparently it's iPhones that. This will also prove a test of whether the my old headset, the sound didn't come through, but it's going to see whether the sound comes through from this new one. I'm hoping it does, because Nathan's coming along and he's got intercom now too, so we're going to hopefully be talking some shit during the next video on this ride. So I'll make one for the trip out there and then a couple from day 2, which is going to be the fun stuff. This is sort of just a trip. Yeah, so what's next for sort of the USB charger? Like I said, don't cheap out on it. That's something you should spend a decent amount of coin on. If you can get the wireless adapter for the quad lock, so that way you don't have to fiddle with cables, and if you want to put the waterproof cover on that you can get with the quad locks, you can. Yeah, so that's sort of, at least for now, most of the practical mods that I can think of off the top of my head.
Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to cut it short there because, once again, I've rambled on longer than I thought. So, the modding intro video thing for the Alpine Run series will actually be a two-parter. Just like before, you would have noticed there was some low quality footage for about 5 minutes because there was an issue. File got corrupted, but luckily the GoPros always make this backup file, which is really neat. So I've used that instead. Yeah, sorry about the low quality for that section, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Make sure to like and subscribe.